In a small village in Nigeria, there lived a young girl named Ada. She was the kind of girl who helped her mother with cooking and her father with farm work. Although she was quiet, but she was always full of curiosity. Her family did not have much, but they had love, and that was all Ada needed. However, things had become tough lately. The farm wasn't doing well, and Ada's father was worried about money. Ada's father worked hard every day in the fields, but the crops were not growing well. This made him sad, and Ada noticed that he was no longer smiling like before. Her mother, too, was trying hard to sell their vegetables in the market, but people weren't buying much. Ada often overheard her parents talking in low voices about their money troubles late at night. One evening, while laying in bed, Ada heard her mother say, "We have to find a way. We can't keep going like this." Her father sighed deeply, and Ada felt a knot in her stomach. She did not understand everything, but she knew her family was struggling. Ada wished she could help, but she was just a little girl. What could she possibly do? The next day, while her parents were out working, Ada wandered into the bathroom. She saw a bar of soap sitting on the sink. It was a small, plain bar, but something about it caught her attention. She picked it up, smelled it. It had a sweet, flowery scent that made her feel calm. Without thinking, she took a tiny bite. The taste was strange, but in that moment, Ada felt her worries melt away. Ada didn't understand why, but eating the soap made her feel better. It became her little secret, something she did whenever she felt scared or sad. At first, she only took small nibbles, but as the weeks went by, Ada found herself eating more and more soap. Her parents didn't notice because they were busy with their own problems. The soap was a way for Ada to feel in control, even though she knew deep down it was wrong. Soon, Ada started to feel sick. Her stomach hurt after she ate the soap, but she didn't tell anyone. She did not want to worry her parents, and she was scared they would be angry if they found out. Ada promised herself she would stop, but whenever she felt anxious or lonely, she couldn't resist. She would sneak into the bathroom, take another bite, and feel that strange calm wash over her. One evening, Ada's mother was sitting at the table, counting coins from the market. "The soap is finishing so fast these days," she said, looking confused. "I just bought more last week, and now it's almost gone." Ada froze where she stood, her heart pounding. Her secret was getting hard to hide. She looked at her mother nervously, hoping she would not ask any more questions. That night, Ada lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Her stomach ached and she felt dizzy. She knew she had eaten too much soap, but the pain wasn't just in her body, it was in her heart. She wanted to tell her parents the truth, but she was too scared. What if they got angry? What if they thought something was wrong with her? The thoughts raced through Ada's mind and she couldn't sleep. The next morning, Ada felt even worse. Her stomach was twisting in knots and her head felt heavy. She tried to get out of bed, but her legs were too weak. Her mother came into the room frowning. "Ada, why are you still in bed? Are you feeling sick?" she asked, sitting beside her. Ada nodded but didn't say much. Her mother touched her forehead and sighed. "You're burning up. I'll make soup for you." As the day went on, Ada's condition worsened. She barely touched her food and felt too tired to play. Her mother grew more worried, but Ada couldn't bring herself to tell the truth. She didn't know how to explain why she had been eating soup. It was such a strange habit, and she feared her parents wouldn't understand. She felt trapped, knowing she had to speak up, but too afraid to do so. By evening, Ada was feeling so sick that she could hardly stand. Her father came home and noticed that something was wrong. "Ada, you don't look well. What's going on?" he asked. Ada's heart raced, and she realized she couldn't keep her secrets anymore. Her parents were too worried, and she could not handle the pain in her stomach anymore. Slowly, Ada walked into the living room where her parents were sitting. Her legs felt shaky, and her hands trembled. Her mother looked up, concerned. "What is wrong, Ada?" she asked, seeing the fear on her daughter's face. Ada took a deep breath, tears filling her eyes. "Mama, Papa, "I've been eating the soap," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Her parents stared at her, confused and shocked. "What do you mean, Ada?" her father asked, not understanding. Ada started crying, unable to hold back her tears. "I don't know why. I just felt scared. The soap made me feel better, but now I feel so sick," she sobbed. Her parents' hearts broke as they realized how much Ada had been suffering in silence. Without wasting any time, Ada's father scooped her up and rushed to the village doctor. Her mother followed, her face filled with worry. When they arrived, the doctor examined Ada carefully. After a few minutes, he looked at her parents with a serious expression. "Eating soap is dangerous," he said. "It made her stomach weak, but she'll recover if we take care of her properly." As they returned home, Ada felt a little better, but the guilt still weighed heavy on her. She had been hiding her secret for so long, and now that it was out, she felt embarrassed. Her mother, sensing her worry, stroked her hair. "It's okay, Ada. We all make mistakes. What's important is that you told us," she said gently. Ada nodded, feeling a little comforted by her mother's words. Over the next few days, Ada's parents took extra care of her. Her mother made special soups to help her stomach heal, and her father stayed by her side, telling her stories to make her smile. They also talked to her more, asking how she was feeling and reminding her that she did not have to hide her worries. Slowly, Ada began to recover, not just physically, but emotionally too. Ada's parents had learned a valuable lesson. They realized that they had been so busy worrying about money and the farm that they had not noticed how much Ada was hurting. From then on, they promised to always pay attention to her feelings, no matter how small or strange her problems seemed. Ada felt relieved, knowing that her parents were there for her. As time passed, Ada stopped craving the soap. She learned new ways to cope with her feelings. Instead of sneaking into the bathroom, she would talk to her parents whenever she felt scared or anxious. Sometimes, she would go outside and play with her friends or draw pictures to take her mind off her worries. Ada felt proud of herself for finding better ways to deal with her emotions. One day, Ada's mother came home with a new bar of soap. She looked at Ada and smiled. "This is the last one for a while," she said. Ada smiled back, knowing that she had finally overcome her strange habit. She no longer felt the urge to eat soap, and her stomach had healed completely. It wasn't easy, but Ada had grown stronger through the experience. Ada began to notice how different things were at home now. Her parents were more relaxed, even though they still had to work hard. Her father's crops were slowly getting better, and her mother was selling more vegetables at the market. Things weren't perfect, but there was hope. The family spent more time together, laughing and talking, and Ada felt happy again. One day, while playing outside with her friends, Ada noticed how light she felt. She was running and laughing, chasing her friends through the village for the first time in a long time. She felt free. No more secrets, no more pain. Ada felt like she had gotten her life back, and it was a wonderful feeling. Even though Ada sometimes still feels scared or worried, she knew that she didn't have to face those feelings alone. She had her parents, her friends, and the love of her family to help her through the tough times. Whenever she felt sad or anxious, she would remember to talk about her feelings instead of keeping them inside. Ada's parents were also much more attentive now. They made sure to ask her about her day, and they always found time to spend with her, even when they were busy. Ada would tell her stories from his childhood, and her mother would teach her new recipes in the kitchen. Ada loved these moments with her parents. They reminded her that she wasn't alone, and that no matter what, her family would always be there for her. She no longer felt the need to hide her problems or keep secrets. Her parents had shown her that they were willing to listen, and that made all the difference. Ada felt safe knowing that she could always count on them, even when things were difficult. One day, as Ada sat outside watching the sunset, her mother joined her. "You've grown so much, Ada," her mother said, putting an arm around her. Ada smiled and leaned against her mother's shoulder. "I'm proud of you for being so brave," her mother continued. Ada felt warmth in her heart. She knew her journey hadn't been easy, but with her family's support, she had become stronger. As time passed, the memory of eating soap became more distant for Ada. It was something she had struggled with, but she no longer felt ashamed of. She understood that everyone has difficult times and it's okay to ask for help. Ada became more confident and felt happier than she had in a long time. She had learned how to face her fears instead of hiding from them. Ada's parents, too, they never forgot the lesson they learned during her struggle. They realized that sometimes children carry burdens that are too heavy for them to handle on their own. From that moment on, they made sure to check in with Ada regularly, asking her about her feelings and making sure she knew that they were always there to support her. They had grown closer as a family now. Ada continued to help her parents with their work on the farm and in the market, but now she did so with a lighter heart. She knew that she didn't have to be perfect or keep her feelings hidden. Her family's love and support gave her the strength to face any challenge that came her way. She felt ready to take on the world, knowing she wasn't alone. Years later, Ada would look back on this time and remember the struggles she went through. She would remember the pain and the fear, but most importantly, she would remember how her family had stood by her and helped her to overcome it. Through their love and care, Ada had learned a valuable lesson. No matter how hard things get, you never have to face them alone. With her family by her side, she knew she could face anything.